John solved it here. Okay, awesome. No, for real though, we're moving on, and we're gonna move on to some Redskins topics today. One's kind of a more of a broader thing, but we're gonna kind of focus it in on the Redskins, and then one's a true Redskins topic. But ESPN, because as Dad says, there's nothing going on and everyone's bored. They decided to take team reporters, bring them together online, not in any contact with each other, and redraft the NFL completely from scratch. So they draft 4 rounds, and you can have to draft what'd you say, a QB, an offensive player, defensive
QB,
player, and
yeah,
then the fourth round can be any one you want.
yeah. You have a defense, offensive, non-quarterback, and then a quarterback, and then the
Yes,
fourth one is a wild card.
right. And so the Redskins reporter that was picked to do this was John Keim. We know him well. He's been around a while now. And this is who he drafted. So again, we had the second round pick, and then they did a snake style draft. So you have the second pick in the first round, and then the 31st pick in the second round, second pick in the third round, and 31st pick in the fourth round. So, of course, Pat Mahomes went number one. But this was the first controversial
Shocker.
pick. You skip out on the MVP Lamar Jackson, and you take Russell Wilson. Did you agree or disagree with that pick?
No, that's. I thought Russell Wilson, and don't get me wrong, I like him, but I thought that was a interesting pick uh, for number two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have picked. I don't think with all the players out there that I would have picked Russell Wilson as number two. Whether or not
Well,
it was Lamar Jackson or a few other ones, that seems weird to me.
Russell Wilson is a beast. I do like me some Russell
Oh,
Wilson. Yeah. And I think he's worthy of the number two pick. It's just because I think I would pick him number three if I did not pick him number two. It's just you had the sensation of the NFL and Lamar Jackson here, and barring injury, the only thing that's going to stop Lamar for the next 5 years or so is injury. He's
well, we've disagreed with that before. I think they're going to figure him out. I know I'm not saying he's not good, he's not dynamic, but I believe the NFL is they're going to figure him out, and I
well,
don't think he's going.
he is one of the best running backs in the league that can also throw the ball. Nobody
I
hits the
understand that.
outside of the edge like he does. He can run around defensive ends and make it into a 15-yard play. On top of that, he can stand in the pocket and throw a 50, 60-yard bomb to a receiver.
I
I don't
understand
know
what
how
you're
you figure
saying.
that out.
Well,
I
I'm
really
going to say
don't.
this. I understand what you're saying. Let's talk about it at the end of next year or the end of this year coming up and see where Baltimore ends up and how well he does. And if he's if he's doing it even better than ever, then I will say you're right. But I think he's going to come back. It's just my opinion. I'm not,
He's going to have to significantly change his game after 4 or 5 years. And I'm not saying he can't do that, but he's not going to be the Lamar Jackson we know today for more than 5 years
So
if
let
he
me ask
stayed
you this:
healthy.
why do you think they lost that game? Why do you think Baltimore lost that game? What do you think? Was it Houston or
Tennessee.
Tennessee? Tennessee. So what was the reason why that with that dynamic of a quarterback that why do you think they failed and ended up losing that game? I'm just curious
Yeah.
asking it.
No, they just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. It was
But
tough.
why? You have a dynamic quarterback that can get 15 yards on a play. Why couldn't they get it? What was the reason why they couldn't get it in the end zone? That's what I'm
Tennessee
asking you.
Tennessee did have a fantastic playoff run, and their defense was playing out of their league uh, in a lot of ways. They played Pat Mahomes decent in that first half too, in that first game, and then Pat Mahomes just blew up after I think it was the last play of the second quarter, and then the third quarter was really bad. But I think they played a really good defensive game. But Lamar Jackson got his. I think he had almost 500 yards of total offense
Okay, and
on
that's
that.
fine, but that's great. Individual stats, that's great, but they didn't win the game because
Mhm.
Tennessee figured out what they had to do to stay ahead of them, and whether or not it's like contain him to the point that you can and shut down all these other avenues and lay it all on his shoulders or whatever they did, they stopped him from getting in the end zone. San Francisco is a great defense. didn't stop Patrick Mahomes and his offense from getting it. They looked
For
pedestrian
3
in
quarters,
the
they
first
did.
half. That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
He looked pedestrian for 3 quarters, and then he raised his level and kicked the butts of the what arguably is the
similar
best
to
defense.
Lamar Jackson's skill set. When you have a guy in Pat Mahomes that can run backwards 11 yards, throw off his back foot 50 yards past the line of scrimmage, so a 60-yard bomb right to a open Tyreek Hill over the linebacker, you don't stop that. That's the fadeaway. That's the Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway jump shot. A 7-footer shooting a fadeaway. You don't block that shot. And if he makes that shot, there's no stopping it. It's just happening. So similar to Lamar, where anybody can lose any Sunday. Anybody can win any Sunday. And Tennessee had a miracle run to the AFC Championship game and ran into the best quarterback in the league and ended up losing. But they did take out one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Lamar and one of the most dynamic players. He's not the best quarterback in the league. He is the quarterback, but if you think of like the quarterback position of what it actually is of inside the pocket, leading the offense, reading the defense, throwing people open. He's not one of the best players there, but you add in his legs, and he's one of the most dynamic people in the NFL. So that was fun. But anyway,
I'm not arguing that. Like I said, I just before, and as far as this topic is concerned, I did want to make a comment about Keim and the statement I think that he made in the round 3 draft pick. I think that was. And I know you're right. I've listened to John Keim for a long time, but I thought that was well, let me just say this. To pick a 32-year-old, is he 32 yet?
Oh, so we're going to the round 3 pick, the Trent Williams pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was saying is that, so the round 3 pick, he picks Trent Williams, and that's a shot at the Redskins that they didn't keep him. And I disagree with that. I think that was a cheap shot on his part, and that I'm not picking a 32-year-old offensive tackle to be on my all-time great team when his track record has been, yes, he's played hurt, but he's also had a lot of issues, and I think he basically bailed on a team that tried to, accepted the fact that what was bothering him, he told them, and they came back and said, okay, you didn't like our GM? GM's gone. You didn't like our coach, although I don't think he has a problem with the coach, but you didn't like our medical staff is gone. Now come to the table and talk to us. And he was like, nope, pay me through the nose or I'm not playing for you.
Yep.
So I think that right there is a stupid pick at any point.
I do not like this pick either because of injury. He hasn't played a full season since 2013. I think you could have gotten a lot more value here as a 3rd-round pick as well. And Shaquille Barrett was an interesting pick for me. He did have a 19.5 sack season last year, which was cool. He did have one of the last picks in the 2nd round, so that makes it tough. But I don't know if I would have gone Shaquille Barrett either. But you do want to have a defensive end, and as John Keim mentioned, there was like almost no defensive end left in this draft. But another homer
he even
pick.
says it there. He has several high-level years left, but I worry about his durability. Okay, Captain Obvious. Thanks for telling me that. I had no idea.
And also, the rule was, this is another thing you had to think of, he did have to pick an offensive player.
Yeah, non-quarterback offensive player. I get it. I just, like I said.
And a left tackle is an important position. You may go look at it, and maybe it was he was one of the best. Let's see here. It has the 3rd round.
Well, I want to know who picked up. What's Dallas's left tackle and who?
No, wait. He had an early 3rd round pick. That's right. Sorry, he had a late 2nd round, early 3rd round pick. Let's see who's down here. He did have to pick an offensive player.
What is Dallas's left tackle's name? I don't know that offhand.
Tyron Smith. Did he go already? Yeah, Tyron Smith already went to Dallas in the 2nd round, so he couldn't pick him. Okay. But Quentin Nelson's a beast guard at Indianapolis. He could have got him. Marshall
Yeah,
Mitchell
I think
Schwartz.
it was a statement pick. That's all I'm saying is I think
Yeah,
it was a statement pick to say the Redskins screwed up, and I don't agree with it.
Lane
Maybe
Johnson
the
was a really
old
good
team
pick.
did, but anyway.
Yeah, interesting.
But as I said to you before, this is the state we're in that there is so little going on in the sports world that all the sports writers decided to get together and do this exercise as a gimmick to give some people something to talk about. And I think it worked.
And here we
We're
are.
talking about it.
And
Yeah,
here we are.
exactly. So it worked.
Yeah.
But to what I mean, when you looked at the rules, that it just I'm like, okay, somebody like I said was really really bored and thought,
I
hey
didn't like
guys,
the rule set. When I first looked at this, I didn't realize that there was a rule that you had to draft a QB, you had to draft this, you had to draft that. It's like, why put those rules? Just draft and have some fun. Because like, no way is Derek Carr being drafted in the third round. No way is Jared Stidham being drafted. No way is who else is in here, quarterback wise.
well, can I just
Go
why
ahead,
do
you
you
can
look for
finish.
that?
Yeah,
I was just
Jameis
gonna
Winston.
say, huh?
No, I'm just looking at Jameis Winston, Tyrod Taylor. Like these people did not want to draft these quarterbacks, and yet they forced
Yeah.
them to.
But this is the other thing that I found completely ridiculous about this concept was it says, what about the other 20 starters for each team? The rest of the roster is made up of average level NFL talent. Our analytics teams identify that as someone such as offensive tackle Donovan Smith, edge rusher Harold Landry III, or cornerback Malcolm Butler. Now, how freaking subjective is that? That's your average level, and let us tell you what average level means. So we're going to pick 3 random middle of the road guys to say the rest of your team is made up of average talent. So,
of these people.
yeah. So what 4 people are you going to bring in to bring your average talent squad to the point where you think they can make a run?
Here's the pick of the day. Here's the pick of the day.
Justin Tucker.
Kicker made the top 100.
I was going to say he could kick 5 field goals a game. He could be the best asset.
Oh, he is a fantastic kicker. But yeah, he picks a kicker in the top 100. Pick number 99, Justin Tucker. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, and who was that? Wait, Rob? I don't know.
Rob Domofsky, Packers reporter.
Yeah, I see that. But
you know what? He was actually on Cooley and Kevin when we played them in the playoffs. They actually had Rob Domofsky come on the show and talk about the stance and what's going on in the Packers going into that playoff game. I remember him.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. You know me, I'm a sports talk or sports talk on 980 and to and from work, which is about 2 to 3 hours a day round trip. I would listen to sports talk, so I got a lot of inside information. Well, I've been in my car a handful of times in the last 2.5 months, so I don't listen to it, so I don't get that same insight with. So it seems like an eternity since I've listened to Steve Zabin, for example, because I'm just not in my car. So.
Yep, fair enough.
But anyway.
All right. Well, that was the perfect waste of time that it was supposed to be, and we had fun. And John Keim, you messed up. I don't know if you drafted the best team you could have, but I wouldn't be mad to have those players either, though. So, but that's the idea is no team's going to be really upset about this team, about the players they have. All right. On to the last subject of today, and it is, so we've gone through the tight ends, we've gone through the running backs. Now we go through the receivers. There's a lot of them. There is a lot of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on the roster, minus this guy who decided to pull a gun out and shoot it. So,
wait,
12.
Who are you talking about? I'm sorry, who are you talking about?
Cody Latimer. We talked about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't catch his name. Sorry.
This guy is not on the team. But 12 guys fighting for what looks like the. So last week I went back and looked at how many of each position makes the team on a typical Ron Rivera team, 53-man roster, And almost every single year except for one, he kept 6 wide receivers.
That's what I was going to say. I
So
was thinking that.
it looks like the number to grab is 6. And if you keep Antonio Gibson, who's the hybrid, at running back, that really opens the door for. There's a 6th receiver up for grabs.
Right.
The 6th spot is pretty much up for grabs.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, when I was looking at this, there is, and this is my opinion, I think number 1 is Terry McLaurin.
Easy.
Yeah, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be the top receiver, the number 1 on the field most of the time. I really like Steven Sims Jr. I just do.
Yep. He's a
Cam Sims is interesting to me if he could just
Cam
hold on to the
Sims
ball.
Is your 3rd receiver listed. Interesting. Okay. So you like some Cam Sims,
Well,
huh?
Well, and I'm not sure if it's the 3rd one, but yeah, this is the ones that are jumping out of me out of the 13.
I know why,
So
because you like this number, 6'5".
Well, yeah, that's absolutely.
Yep.
It's I like, and that's one of the reasons why Gandy Golden 6'4". I mean, I think
he's obvious going to make the team. He was just drafted this year, so there's 3 of mine that you have listed. Yep.
All right, so let me see who else that.
So right now you have Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims Jr., and AGG and Cam Sims.
Right, so that's 4 of them.
Yep.
I don't know about Kelvin Harmon was interesting to me, but all right, so apparently we're aligned pretty close. Who do you have that I missed?
Well, you still have 2 more to name. So who's your?
I
two
know.
More?
Well,
I'm going to force you. No, you got to name them. You got to name the next 2. I have mine written down right here. I'm not changing anything.
All right, I'm going to say Kelvin Harmon.
Okay, Kelvin Harmon, number 5.
And let's see, this is I just be throwing a dartboard or dart at a dartboard. But let's say,
Yep.
Let's go with Trey Quinn.
All right, so Trey Quinn's 6. So I will say right off the gate, we have 5 out of 6 the same.
Hey, so either we're both really stupid or we both got it figured out.
Yes, correct. The latter. The first one is definitely what's going on. Okay, so you're absolutely right. McLaurin, number 1, obvious. Yep. Steven Sims was not my number 2, but agree, easily make the team. My number 2 was, well, besides, of course, so number 2 would be the Antonio Gandy Golden. We just drafted him. He's going to make the team.
Yeah.
So then the number 3 would be Kelvin Harmon. Kelvin Harmon, we just drafted him two drafts ago. Definitely going to make the team. Now, this is where it got a little iffy for me. Like, okay, who will make the 5th and 6th spot? Now, you listed Quinn. I'm going to just tell you, I agree. I think Quinn will make this team. He's good. He could be a punt returner. He has some versatility there. He's a good slot receiver. He's a good sure-handed guy to have on the team. Good route runner. I think he's a smart guy. I really like him as a punt returner as far as an intelligence factor. I think he's good at knowing when to let the ball bounce, when to fair catch, when to catch the ball and run with it. But the problem with him is he's not very game breaking. So he's not going to be your Devin Hester out there that's going to all of a sudden bust out 6 touchdowns punting the ball. Right. So that's something that's disappointing. So you would like to find a more dynamic guy, but also has the intelligence, which Steven Sims probably could be that guy. I think Steven Sims is a really good return guy. But I think he makes the team.
Before you name your 6th person, because I want to make sure I follow, and just for the record, I wasn't necessarily, I know I started with Terry McLaurin as the overall number 1. I wasn't, beyond that, I wasn't necessarily picking them in the order. Like, I didn't necessarily think of Steve Sims as number 2. I just thought of the, so.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that Cam Sims was the 3rd guy to come out of your mouth. It's somebody that it's on your mind, somebody that catches your attention, and somebody that you're interested in. So I just thought that was interesting that you listed him. Now, Cam Sims is obviously a big body receiver, But I think I've
But
said
his
this
hands.
before on the show is I think Emmanuel Hall is going to make a really strong case of why he should be on this team when training camp comes around.
So
See?
just to be clear, so Cam Sims is the one we were off on, and you were replacing it with Emmanuel Hall.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. 6'2", big body, 215 as well. He's not as big
By the
as
way,
Cam Sims.
my stats say 6'3", just so you know.
Your stat says 6'3" for Calvin Harmon.
Redskins. No. You were talking about Emmanuel Hall.
Emmanuel Hall. Oh shoot,
Yeah,
you're right. It is 6'3". I'm sorry, I looked at.
Okay.
I've highlighted the wrong thing with Calvin Harmon. I'm sorry.
All right,
6'3" Emmanuel Hall. You did correct
attention.
me. There you go. 195. Excuse me. And
Yeah,
because I've also seen some places where they said Calvin Harmon is 6'3", but this one lists him at 6'2". I don't care. We'll take it. But 6'3", 195. Another big body receiver. I watched him a lot at Missouri because I was really interested in Drew Lock going into that draft that we drafted Dwayne Haskins, and I was really interested in Drew Lock. Chris Cooley loved him some Drew Lock, and so I was definitely interested in him. But so I got to watch some Emmanuel Hall, and this guy's got some hands. He's I don't know what he ran in the 40, but he's plenty fast enough to play NFL receiver. And this guy is going to make some noise. Kind of like what Steven Sims Jr. did last year. In training camp, he was an undrafted free agent. Nobody really was thinking about him. But once training camp was coming around, 2-3 weeks in, everybody's like, this guy's going to make the team. This guy's making noise. I think this year's noisemaker is Emmanuel Hall. And he becomes our 6th receiver. Cam Sims potentially makes the practice squad again. I think Cam Sims will be on this team at some point this season because, of course, there's always going to be an injury bug. There's always going to be something that happens. So I think Cam Sims will be a name that you see this season. He is by number 7, but Emmanuel Hall will be your 6th receiver. So to list them again, you have Terry McLaurin, number 1. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. The like button is on this side for mobile. If you have any of your own thoughts or questions, comment down below. We may just answer it next video. Thanks. See ya.